Okay, so this was number 5. This was number 5 on your coloring activity from yesterday. And the directions told you find the length of the darkened arc, leave your answers in terms of pi. That just means you leave it pi, you don't multiply it in. Work with the other numbers first. And then usually at the end we would multiply in pi. All this is saying is don't multiply it with pi yet, just leave it pi. So on the sticky note, show your work, write your name, place your sticky note on the board. Most of you have done that. We're going to go ahead and get started even if you have not. Okay, so what is the arc measure? How do you know that? Because of this little marking right here. So this arc measure is 90 degrees. Okay. Let me make this so you can see it. Let's write down our formula. It's arc length over 2 pi r equals theta over 360. Theta just represents the arc measure. And we have the radius and we have the arc measure. So we're trying to find arc length. So for arc length, that's where I'm going to place my x because that's what I'm trying to find. Okay, what is r?
R is 8.
Mm-hmm. What is the arc measure? What is theta? 90. And that's over 360. Remember, those are in degrees. Now we can cross multiply. I like to do the side with the x first. What's x times 360? 360x. On this one, I'm going to include an extra step so people at home can see what we're doing. I'm just going to multiply the 2 and the 8 first. So what's 2 times 8? So 16, and then we have to include this pi. So we are going to multiply 16 pi times 90. That's what we're doing here. But instead of multiplying in pi, I am just going to multiply the 16 times the 90. What do you get?
1440.
Thank you. And then just leave pi there. Now we're going to divide by 360. Okay, so in your calculator, what you can do here is simply divide the two numbers. Don't include pi just yet. Just use your fraction and divide. What's wrong? Oh, you can, it's fine. You can cough. Okay, so when you just do those numbers without touching pi, you get 4. But you know you have to include pi in your answer, so your answer here is just 4 pi. All right, I'm just doing this part right here in the calculator, and that is 4, but I have to add the pi with it. Okay, questions? Some people got 4.5 pi. Some people got something else. Do you see where you went wrong? Do you have questions?
So just don't include pi.
When it asks you, when it says, leave your answer in terms of pi, yes, don't multiply with pi just yet. Just include it as part of your answer. Okay. Okay, here were the other answers to yesterday's coloring activity. Do you have any burning questions? Any questions that you need addressed right now? Number one? Okay. So let's see if it'll let me write. Yes. Okay. Again, you can write down your formula. And that's what this is. I know that I'm trying to find arc length on each one of these. So in that formula, this spot right here, that's always going to be where your x goes. Okay. And then it's 2 pi times r in the bottom. R is 9. So that's 2 pi times 9. And then your arc measure, you have to be careful, as Troy pointed out, like on number 3, it's asking you for the darkened area. And, you know, it gives you that the smaller area is 60, but that's not the darkened area. So you have to subtract 60 from 360, and that arc would be 300. So just be careful what you're looking at. On number 1, the arc measure is 150 degrees. Okay, so when you're plugging that in your formula, it goes here. What's 2 times 9? Okay, so what is 18 times 150? Okay, so that's where I get 2700 pi equals 360x. I just cross multiplied. And then I'm dividing by 360. So again, if you're confused as to how to leave pi, how to leave your answer in terms of pi, take that fraction, but don't put in the pi. 2700 divided by 360. It's going to give you 15 over 2. And then you know that the pi goes with the 15, right? Because it's in the top part of your fraction. It's right here. Does that make sense? And if you're ever confused, like you get the decimal and you don't know, but you have some answer choices, whoops. What you can do, like for this one, for light blue, 3 pi over 2, put 3 pi divided by 2 in your calculator. If you got the same decimal you did first time, it's the same thing. Okay. Okay, so now we need to look at new stuff. Did anybody have any other questions? I can put this, I'll put this on the screen at the end of class if you still need something. But you basically had this answer bank down here to check your work with. Okay. And this will be in the video that I'm making, if you need to go back and look at it. Okay, so get out your notes for today. We are going to look at something new. Okay, today we're going to look at area of sectors. And remember, you had a quiz on Friday. Before we look at area of sectors, we need to look at area. How do you find the area of a circle? Pi r squared. Okay. So let's work with that and try a few examples to see if we can jog our memory. Example 1, find the area if your radius is 8 inches. Okay, so area equals pi r squared. Just plug in an 8 for r. Yeah, 64 pi. When you multiply that out, what do you get? $201.06. Square inches. Okay? You can do that, right? You're just plugging into the formula. On example 2, it says find the diameter, and what are you given? You're given the area. So if you're given the area on this one, it's going to be, let me fix that. So you know area is pi r squared. The area is 96. So 96 equals pi r squared. Now, to get r by itself, you got to have the radius to figure out the diameter. Divide by pi. So 96 divided by pi equals r squared. Well, how do you get rid of something squared? You take the square root. Okay, so you can plug that in your calculator. Then take second square root of, and you can hit second answer, and it'll take the square root of whatever your answer was. I just, second, 5.5, yes. Have you written anything down? Okay. Okay, so what is the radius? Do you see how we arrived at that? You were given that 96 is the area. You know the formula for area is pi r squared. It's kind of like when you're working with the arc length formula and you have a different piece to fill in. You have a different x to find. Okay. All right. So if you want to find the radius and you're given the area, go ahead and try this one on your own. It's the same thing we did here where we were given the area is 96 and you're trying to find the radius. Okay, so if area is 201 feet or square feet.
I go to ours.
Okay. We're not completely done. Still recording. In due time. Okay, so you should be working on this example. That's that's the only one I have. Okay, I'm not even okay, guys. I've given you the first step. What do you do from here? Divide by pi, right? Come on. So 201 is your area. You're going to divide by pi and then take the square root of that. You should get 8 is your radius.
So if you get 64,
You just take the square root.
you say, okay, yes, no, okay. Good. Good.
Questions? Okay. So now what we are going to do is we're going to look at sectors of a circle. So it's technically the region bounded by 2 radii and their intercepted arc. It kind of looks like a piece of pie or a piece of pizza. You're finding that area, so the sector we're looking at is in blue here, and we would be finding the area of just that piece. So just that piece, that's called a sector. And the formula for this, to find this, is very similar to what we found for arc length. Okay. So the formula is as follows. It's the area of the sector over area of the circle equals arc measure over 360. Very similar to arc length, but this is area of the sector. And again, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up cross multiplying to get your answer. Okay. So let's try one. On your notes, this is another way. This is another way to find the area of a sector, but I prefer the cross multiplying because you're used to it from arc length. So that formula is the area of a sector over pi r squared equals your theta over 360. Okay. So in this first circle, what do we have? The radius is 4. The arc measure is 80. Okay. So we are trying to find the area of that region, the area of that sector. So that's your x. Then we have pi times r squared. What is r? 4. What is your arc measure? 80. And that's over 360. It's very much the same, except instead of circumference formula right here, it's area formula. Okay, so now let's cross multiply. And I'm going to include an extra step just so people can see what we're doing. What is x times 360? 360x. And then, okay, what is 4 squared? What's 4 times 4? 16. So this piece is 16 pi. And that's going to be times 80. Right? Well, what is 16 times 80? What did you get? Yep. And then just keep the pi with it. We just multiplied 16 times 80. All we did on that step. Now we are going to we're still trying to get x by itself. You're going to divide by 360. The exact answer is 32 pi over 9. And then your approximate answer, no, I got 11.17. What was that? 32 pi over 9, or 11.17, and that is in square feet. I did. Questions. Okay, I want you, guess what you're gonna do? I did both. This is keeping it in terms of pi. And then this is multiplying it with pi. Mhm. Okay, so on the next problem, I want you to do this by yourself. Radius is 9. The area of the, sorry, not the area, the measure of the arc is 60 degrees. Find the area of that sector. While you do that, I'm going to write this formula on the board so we have it. Okay, raise your hand if you're still working on this one. At least attempt it.
Wrong? What you say? As in wrong? Oh God. Oh my goodness. See, this come on record.
Did you get that? Before you.
Oh. He said he put his hand on the stove. See.
Get the decimal though.
He said he put his hand on the stove so he could see the stove.
Yes. Yes.
To see if I still hurt.
You need to. We are here.
I think got Stacy.
Wait. How did you think that?
So, I'm gonna do well. Oh God, if I make this.
It's 360x, not pi. Okay, let's try this one. Some of you are doing okay. Some of you need a little bit of extra guidance. So let's see what's going on here. Let me. Well, I guess I'll leave it like that. I'm gonna have to work over here on the side, so it might be a little small. Okay, your formula, area of a sector is what we're trying to find. Over pi r squared equals theta over 360. So I'm going to put an X there because that's what you're trying to find. Your radius is what? Guys, what's your radius here? 9. Okay. What is your arc measure? Now let's cross multiply. I'm going to do the part with X first. That gives me 360X. And then what is 9 squared? So that's 81 pi. Times what? Okay. What is 81 times 60? What, 4,860? And that's with pi. Now you have to divide by what? 360. Okay. 4,860 over 360. Sorry, guys. You know, the pi goes on top, right? It goes with the 27. So if you want to leave it in terms of pi, your answer would be 27 pi over 2, right? If you want to get your approximate answer, that's 42.41. And that is, it doesn't tell you in what units that is. Okay. So I want you to try this. Same kind of question. Find the area of that sector in blue. Okay. Guys, you have those two things that I've highlighted in yellow. Just fill those in. And then where is X going to be? Where AS is. So at least write this down. Go ahead and write this down right now. If you're completely lost, write down the formula.
Wait, so would you do 10? Would you do 20? No.
It's going to be 10 squared. when you plug in the 10 for R. I forgot about this.
Oh, yeah.
Just remind me tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sure.
What?
The 8.
Okay, when I multiply this, will I include pi?
I got 9.
I wrote it down wrong.
Why?
I'll say yes. Did you accidentally put in a 9 here?
Where?
I'm sorry.
Did you plug, when you just plugged it in, did you put a 9 or a 0 for 3/6? Okay. Yes. Okay, there you're good. Yes.
Do I include 5 whenever I do it and I multiply this?
Just wait. What's 10 squared?
It's that's
What's 100 times 160?
100 times that's
So it's going to be 16,000 pi on that side.
okay.
Wait. At least write the formula down.
Do I have to keep the on that?
I did both
So you can see my pi.
because sometimes it's going to ask you for the exact answer. I always forget on these days. Brandon, what'd you get? I don't want to stuff in your bag. Mm-hmm.
Multiply 100 by right?
Keep
That right?
16,000 pi. And then divide 16,000 by 360.
That's right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good.
Alright. Like so for this, I got 16,000.
Okay.
Would I put pi here and below it? I think
Oh my gosh.
So what do I do? I do my number, you can do pi here and then divide it by 360. And then I'll show it to you. Okay, guys, let's go over this. I'm seeing some good stuff. And what I'll do for the video, because there's a lot of sections in between where you don't see me writing, I'm going to trim the video so you don't hear me talking to you. It's a little awkward. Anyway, so we are trying to find the area of the sector demand. And I'm still in highlighters. Okay, so what is my radius? What's my radius? What's my radius? 10, thank you. So we're gonna have pi times 10 squared. What is the arc measure? Good. Now, cross multiply. What is 10 squared? Sorry, I'm going to do the 360x first. 10 squared is 100. Okay, guys. The homework is attached. I want you to do, let's do the odd problems. Do the odd problems.
Yeah, you know. Oh my goodness. You know who ruined that, right? You know who ruined that answer?
You're welcome.
I ain't had nothing to hold with. Hey, what's it? Hey, you see the volume right now? Look.
I make it, I don't do much. Ready? I give another shot, then it counts.
Nope.
Alright, farther away. Right here.
Hold on, I gotta go sit down.
Chill.
That's all.
I'm gonna do that.